Yeah, I just hope I can leave a legacy like playing this game, like something for my, my future kids, and my future grandkids to look at, like, as motivation. Like, you work hard, you can really make it somewhere in life. I know this game took me, like, all around the world. So, I want to leave that for my kids and my grandkids, my family to, to use as motivation or whatever they need it for, just to, have it for them to see. That's it. That's all I really care about.
Welcome, welcome.
What's going on?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Good, good. So we are back here today with another episode of the Baseline Podcast. And today we have a special guest. We're gonna hear about the journey of JaCorey J.C. Williams. Thank you for coming on the show today, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna do a little icebreaker to start it off, get the tone right. What's one thing that younger JaCorey from Alabama would never believe about the life you're living right now?
I probably wouldn't imagine me being like a 10-year pro, like traveling the world playing basketball, as a job. Like, I think that's a blessing, like growing up, I didn't even really think that far. I was thinking more present. I know I used to love basketball. I always played, but I never thought it would take me this far in life, like ever, so yeah.
Yeah, it could always be a shock. And before we dive too far into it, I want to introduce you to our listeners a little bit of kind of where you've been every stop of that 10-year career.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, for real.
Yeah.
So now here's the thing. Sometimes I get one wrong. If I get something wrong or miss something, let me know.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not too ego about that. So you're from Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
From the South, and you go stay South, SEC, Arkansas. Played 3 years at Arkansas, 3 solid years, 36 games your third year. Then you go over to Middle Tennessee State or just Middle Tennessee?
Middle Tennessee State.
Middle Tennessee State,
Yeah.
17 a game, absolutely killing it. Turn pro, kill at the Canton Charge in the G League, Israel, back to the G League, Greece, Italy, France, Italy, Albania, Israel, Albania, Greece, and now back in Israel. So you've been kind of all over the world and you've hit on so many different levels. So my thought is that is you've been to so many different places. Which place unexpectedly felt like home?
I had to say Italy when I was in Naples, I really felt like that's the city I had the most connection with. I was always outside doing something, going to see something, a little bit more involved in the community, made some friends out there, so I feel like when I was in Italy, that's the city I connected to the most.
So now take us back, speaking of, where it kind of felt like home, take us back to home,
Yeah.
where it really started. When the ball was first put in your hands, where does the love of the game come from? Take us back to the beginning.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I ain't really grew up playing basketball, My childhood was kind of different. I lived in a few different places. But I didn't start playing organized basketball until I was 13, bro.
Wow, okay, late.
Yeah, so I started pretty late. But I was always at the park playing with the older guys. I think I was like the youngest out there playing with the older guys. That's literally where it came from, at the park, playing with the older guys. Like, they always picked me up. I always competed with them. I always held my own. So I really didn't grow up playing basketball. I started late. I got tall kind of late. So, it really just came from going to the park every day. I just love to play basketball. That's it.
So in Alabama, Alabama is more of a football state.
Yeah.
But can you talk about the basketball culture in Birmingham?
Yeah, I feel like it's underrated, man. We got a lot of hoopers in Birmingham, Alabama in general. A lot of guys go Big D1 every year, it's just overshadowed by how good of a football state it is, Got the University of Alabama, Auburn, A lot of big-time recruits come out of the South, Georgia, Alabama, Texas. So, it's kind of overshadowed. I would say it's very underrated, though. It's a lot of hoopers that are still hooping right now from Alabama. A lot of people really don't know about.
How did your family kind of help you grow up and kind of use maybe faith or discipline, however, like, what kind of characteristics did they instill in you that you see to today still helps you in your pro career?
Yeah, I think it came from my mom, man. She was the head of the household, man. She was very disciplined with us. She always made sure we did the right things. And the main thing, I think, she always held us accountable, for everything we did, So growing up, we learned that from her. We always saw her working hard, providing for us, as hard as she could, even if it was long hours, So I just think we saw the drive that she had, the discipline that she had. And I think for me, it carried over to how hard I work, when I'm training and preparing for the games and preparing to be, what I am on the court, I think I seen that discipline growing up with her, and it was instilled in me, so I just put it towards basketball, really.
What made you decide to start? You said you started late at 13, you
Yeah.
know, you moved around a bunch.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start to take basketball so seriously? I know you said you got tall a little late. Was it getting tall? Was it something else going on?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I was just playing at the park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I went to middle school in Birmingham, and there was a basketball tryout, you know. And I hadn't played anywhere other than the park before the tryout, you know. So I just told my mom I think I wanted to go try out to play basketball because I always just played around in the neighborhood. So I thought I was okay, you know. So I get to the tryout, you know, my first time ever being with a coach, anything like that, anything organized, like the tryout. And so we started playing or whatever, and the coach was just like, look, you just go sit down, like you already on the team, you know. So that's how I made my first team, like, you know, I didn't even know how good I was, you know, I was just playing at the park. I went in there my first tryout, and the coach told me to sit down. I didn't even have to finish the tryout. I already had made the team, you know. So that's how it started for me. So that coach really gave me confidence to like really, you know, work hard at basketball.
So talk us through, you know, a lot of players, like especially nowadays, are playing AAU at 5 years old, basically.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And they're doing all these very organized basketball, and you come from almost like an old school level of you're starting at the park, you're playing with the community.
Yeah.
Talk us through kind of the pros and cons of being a park player who then decides to take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pros is like, you know, I think that's where I got like my versatility from in my game, you know, being able to do a lot of things on the court, you know. I think my feel from the game came from that, you know, always playing against like stronger guys, bigger guys. So I think my feel for the game, my awareness on the court, I think comes from playing with those older guys because like, you know, I'm smaller, I'm weaker, I can't really make many, you know, mistakes playing against those older guys. So I think that's, you know, like how that translates to me playing pro now, you know. And I think another thing is kind of like, you know, when you grow up playing in the park, you're not disciplined as a player. Like you make those small mistakes that, you know, a guy that may have been playing since he was 5 already had learned, you know. So it's a lot of small stuff that come like, you know, from both sides, negative and positive, I think.
So now, like, you're pro. You played 10 years pro. Do you ever catch yourself playing at the park anymore?
Yeah, when I go home sometimes, when I go to Birmingham, I stop by a few parks I used to go to, you know, when I was, you know, growing up and stuff like that, just to see what's going on. They all be kind of empty now. Like a lot of kids not really playing, but on some days you'll catch some guys out there and I just run around and play with them randomly. But you know, other than that, not really.
It's kind of a little sad, honestly. Like I wish, like, you know, 10 years ago, even not even so long ago, you go at like 5-6 p.m. and there's runs, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's just runs and you can go play.
Yeah.
And now because of like AAU and stuff, but basketball is just getting a lot better in all fronts because of that.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
going back to high school, did you, keeping the topic a little bit still on the park, were you seeing yourself still playing at the park in high school? And like we talked about how the park translated in your game in the organized level. How did it translate in high school when you were going up against all the other players?
Yeah, I think I was like so much more comfortable, like, you know, really anywhere on the court. You know, I was just like, I never really got nervous, like, you know, at a young age. Like when I got to high school, I played junior varsity my first year for a few games, and then they moved me up during the season. I was playing well, you know. But I just like my feel for the game was kind of like advanced at that age than a normal person my age, I think. So I think I was able to play with older guys like faster, you know. And I had hit a growth spurt, so I was kind of tall doing a lot of things on the court, you know. So, yeah.
How tall were you going into it, and then what was the growth spurt too?
I was like in middle school I was 5'10".
Okay.
And then I came to high school 6'4" in the 9th grade. So I hit a growth spurt like over the summer, you know.
Yeah.
And then I went 6'5", 6'6", 6'7".
So you had those guard skills that as you were growing.
Yeah, and I kind of kept them,
Yeah.
yeah. And now that I'm a big, I'm kind of like, you know, somewhat of a mismatch, can do a little bit more, you know.
So back to like our first question, when we talked about like what your younger self would think about you today, you said that you'd be a little bit shocked that you're a 10-year pro.
Yeah.
But at what point, maybe in high school and college or something, did you realize that basketball could take you somewhere so far?
I think my final year at Middle Tennessee State, we had a good team. We pretty much didn't lose a game. We was like 30-3 the whole year. Went to the tournament, won a conference tournament, won a tournament game. You know, probably one of the best teams I've been on in my life. And you know, after that team, I just realized that we all had talent on that team. You know, and I think that's when I really, you know, felt like if I really took this game serious, it can take me far.
So you're telling me it wasn't until your 4th year of college that you said maybe I can go pro?
Yeah,
That's great. So going back to kind of high school again, you're getting recruited. You end up committing to Arkansas SEC. You know, so even in those moments you weren't feeling like that. But talk us through kind of the recruiting process of being someone who started at the park, hit growth spurts, started going through. Like, what was the recruiting process like for you in high school?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It was all kind of a blur. Like, you know, everything was happening so fast. Like, once I started playing, I got a little taller. You know, was playing on the wing a little bit. Like, I started getting a lot of attraction from like colleges. You know, they started calling me, coming to the games in high school, practices. You know, sending me letters and stuff like that. But I think it was all kind of moving so fast to me because I had never seen nothing like this. I never knew that type of thing happens. Like when you play basketball, like at a certain level. So, you know, I just like kind of just took it all in and didn't really think much about it. It was kind of a blur. Like it all happened so fast. And all I can really remember is like my last 2 schools were Alabama and Arkansas, and like I chose Arkansas of Alabama. So.
Yeah.
Wow, and you're from Alabama.
Yeah, and I'm from
so
Alabama.
Yeah,
why'd
why
you end
that?
up going to Arkansas instead of Alabama?
That's a long story. You know, I just had a lot of talks with my mom back and forth. You know, my family back and forth about what I should do. And you know, I kind of was torn in between the two colleges from Alabama, but I also did like Arkansas. So I just felt like there was I went where there was more opportunity for me, like to get more playing time.
Do you remember what was that final moment when you were like, all right, I want to go to Arkansas?
Yeah, I remember the moment. I was actually in the living room, just laying on the floor, like, you know, going back and forth, like with my thoughts, like, you know, about which school I wanted to go to. And then finally, around like 10 p.m., like late night, I just told my mom, like, I think I want to go to Arkansas, you know. So we just called the coach right then at 10 p.m. Like we called both coaches and told them what I was gonna do. And after that, I was just like, all right, let's do it. Let's go to work.
I mean, what was the reaction from like your community and your family for you to commit to such a high-level SEC school? I mean, I know it's a little different then, but like now especially, Arkansas is one of the biggest, you know, sports brands in the country, in the U.S., you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was the first to do it in my family, so it was all new for everybody. So we was all just like, you know, taking it all in, like soaking up the moment, you know, trying to stay level. My mom was really like, you know, good at, you know, keeping me level-headed throughout the process of like being recruited and all that. She took most of the phone calls for me. Like a lot of times, I didn't want to talk, and she talked for me. So, you know, she was there with me, you know, going through the process. She kind of helped me with that. So, like I said, like, you know, we got through it together, and it was like, you know, it was good.
So you landed on Arkansas's campus. What was that first feeling like when you first got there?
Nah, it was crazy. I was just thinking about like how big the campus was. Like we were getting a tour of their whole campus. They were showing us everything, like where everything was. And I just couldn't believe I came from like Birmingham to that, you know, that type of situation, you know. I had never seen nothing like that. I never knew I would get that far. So, you know, I was just ready to get there and, you know, to hoop really. I was ready to play. As soon as I got there, I was ready to play.
What was it like also, I mean, the SEC is different.
Yeah.
SEC is different sports-wise. You know, you have your facilities, your fan bases, your everything. So what was it like on that end as well, where you get there and you start realizing you have access to all these things, and also you have this fan base behind you that is so passionate and so large? Like, what was it like to kind of have that experience right off the bat?
Yeah, it was crazy as well. Like, and then the Arkansas fans are like crazy. Like, they love sports up there, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But like the fan base was like bigger than anything I had ever seen in my life. So, you know, I think like the first home games when they were selling out the arena with like 20,000, it was just like, it was crazy. Like it felt like a dream, honestly. Like my freshman year, I remember my first few games, I was like, wow, like I'm really playing at this level, like, you know? And it just like all motivated me, like everything around me. I was like, it can get bigger if I just keep working harder, you know? So as soon as I saw it, I just used it as motivation to kind of like, you know, stay in love with the game, you know?
So you get to Arkansas, first year, you play around 8 minutes, you know, you score a bit with what you could do in those 8 minutes. The second year you go back, you kind of have the same like schedule on the court, you know? What was that like going through that process again your sophomore year? Because a lot of times freshman year you don't play as much, that's normal. But then sophomore year to have that second season and do that again, was that ever challenging for you, or was that kind of how the process worked there?
Yeah, nah, it was definitely challenging as a player, like personally, like it was a little challenging. But like I love to work out though, like I love the gym, so I just kind of stayed in the gym and like used that as motivation to kind of like just keep working, you know. And also I understood the type of teams we had. We had a lot of forwards, a lot of veteran guys, athletic guys, you know, guys that are like you know, all around athletes, like, you know, throughout our whole team, like 1 through 12, we had athletes like you should have saw some of our practices at Arkansas, man. It was like, it was so competitive in there, man. Like, you know, just a lot of guys going at it, you know. So I knew what type of team we had. So, you know, of course, as a player, I want to contribute more.
Right.
I want to do more. But I understood I had seniors in front of me. So I just kind of stayed in the gym, you know, to keep me level-headed.
In your junior year, you double in minutes and you play around 16, 17 minutes a game.
Yeah.
But you eventually end up transferring after that year. Was there ever a moment, maybe after your first year or your second year, that you thought of transferring, and why was it actually only after your third year?
You know, during my second year, I may have thought about transferring, like, you know, a little bit, but not nothing too serious. There was a lot of guys leaving the team, so I knew my junior year I was going to be able to play more. So, you know, I kind of knew the situation, you know, so of course it came to mind, like, after the same type of year I had my freshman year, it was like really identical year. But yeah, it came to mind a little bit, but I knew those guys were leaving, so I knew I had an opportunity in my junior year to play at Arkansas.
You know, this is a bit of a loaded question because like hindsight's always 20/20 and it's very different. But you know, also back then, you know, 2012, 2014, stuff like that, you know, transferring was a much bigger deal. You know, you had to sit out a year, there was all this stuff, there was no NIL. Kind of looking back on it with the landscape that it is now, with its NIL, no sitting out, kind of can just go. Do you feel like you would have done the same thing and waited out those couple of years? Or do you feel like maybe you would have immediately kind of tried and got a new opportunity?
Yeah, I think with the new rules now, you gotta take an opportunity. And, you
Yeah.
know, if you feel like you need to go, you have to go. Like, the rules allow you to. Like, it's too easy. Like, you know, if the situation doesn't work, you can really literally leave the next year. Like, that's way different than what it was before. You know.
It's free agency now.
Yeah. So like, yeah, of course I would have explored another option for sure.
Like you just said, you know, guys now go transfer, they play the next season. You had to sit out a year. So sitting out that year, what was that like mentally? Where were you during that time? How were you able to still get prepared and being ready for the next season?
Yeah, I think that year for me was probably like the year I had, you know, like my mind in the right place at, you know, the most. Like, I knew I wasn't playing, so I could literally just focus on myself, work on my game. And like I said, I love the gym. I love to practice with the guys. Like, I love playing pickup. So that's all I did. Like, that whole year, I just worked on my game, practice with the team, and, you know, I was good. You know, I knew I had no pressure to play, so I just worked on myself for a whole year, like literally.
And this was with Middle Tennessee that year?
With Middle Tennessee, yeah.
So doing that year, like, eventually you're gonna ask,
Yeah.
like, the next year you just blow up, right,
Yeah.
in Middle Tennessee, because you like you said,
It's
your
one of the
mind,
biggest jumps we've seen.
yeah, your
probably.
mind is like at the right place at the right time. What was that year like? Like, how was it that you were able to get that jump after sitting out a whole year?
Yeah, I just think I was like, you know, I just kind of reset everything, like mentally, like physically. I worked on my body, I worked on my game, and I kind of used that year as an advantage. Like, I did. I took every day like it meant something, you know. Like, I ain't waste a minute, you know. So I think that's where the big explosion came from, like the next year, you know.
Where does
I was too
that
confident. I had worked too hard. I was too confident.
Where does that perspective come from? Because I think a lot of people, a lot of times when, also if you're gonna get super real, you know, going from SEC to Middle Tennessee, a lot of people would view that as almost a step down, but you seem to view it as like, this is my opportunity to blow the fuck up, you know,
Yeah.
and like really do what I need to do. So, you know, where does that perspective and mindset come from to say, I'm gonna take this opportunity and really run away with it?
Yeah, like, like when I went there, I was kind of like, you know, it's a smaller school. I didn't really know nothing about it, you know. But when I got there to the practices and I saw the players, man, them dudes were some dogs,
Yeah,
man.
they're dogs.
Them dudes, it may sound like it's easier to go to Arkansas and then go to Middle Tennessee and dominate. Like, to actually do it is hard, bro. Like, to actually supposed to do it, like they expect you to do it and you actually do it, it's the hardest thing in the world. Then when I go to the gym down there, them dudes some dogs, man. Like, them dudes work hard every day. Like, everything was strict down there, like tight program, like nobody missing class, like nobody late, everybody an hour early to practice, everybody an hour after practice. Like, you know, the culture that they had down there, that really changed me. Like, that really made me, you know, go harder, you know. And I knew I had came from a bigger school, so, you know, I knew that I was probably a little bit more talented, you know, like just naturally more talented. But like, nothing was given to me that, like, them guys pushed me that whole year I was off to be who I became. So I respect them for that. But like, yeah, it sounds easy going to Arkansas and dominate at Middle Tennessee. But like, when I got there and I walked in that gym and I saw them dudes working hard and being physical and grinding, I was like, nah, this not no cakewalk. I had to take it serious, so I locked in really.
So you said you locked in, and you also said like in that gap year, you kind of had like a mental shift.
Yeah.
What goes into that? What kind of changed in your state of mind, like mentally? Like, what specifically was that?
Yeah, I just think like I really locked in on the gym. Like I really doubled the time I went to the gym when I was at Arkansas at Middle Tennessee. Like I think probably in one summer, like 1 year. Like that's all I did, bro. I swear I lived in there. Like I went to sleep in there some nights, bro. I swear, like, cause I was thinking like when I left Arkansas, nobody's gonna remember me. Like, and like the chip on my shoulder was like, you know, everybody expect me to go here and just disappear and never be heard about again. Like I use that as motivation. So like, you know, I was like, I can't let it happen to me. Like not me. So that's all I did was work out, bro.
And you mentioned, you know, at the beginning of the interview, you know, how special that Middle Tennessee team was.
Yeah.
Y'all did. I remember you guys making the tournament. Like I remember that. You know, walk us through what made that team so special and what made that year so special as a whole. Like, you know, that also was conducive to you averaging, as you said, what, triple what you were averaging at Arkansas.
Yeah. I think the year I was sitting out, like that team was, they won the conference championship too, and they went to the tournament and knocked off like number 2 Michigan State. So that's the year I set out.
Yeah.
So I literally watched them do that. Like I watched them practice and work hard at practice, and I watched them show it on the court and win a conference championship. You know, upset a number 2 team in the NCAA tournament. It's probably like one of the biggest ever. You know.
Yeah.
So I watched them do that, and I watched the work they put in. And I just kind of like, you know, got in line, bro. Like they was already working hard. That was my motivation. I wanted to do the same thing, and we did. Yeah.
So then, you know, finish college, right? You had 5 years. You had the 3 at Arkansas, gap year, Middle Tennessee,
Yeah.
and then go to the tournament. What was the tournament like for you, and what was that experience like, just being there?
In the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I had went when I was at Arkansas too, so I had been there 2 times. My role was much smaller on those teams, but I've been there 2 times, so I had a little bit of experience in the tournament. So when I went, when I was with Middle Tennessee and I went, like my confidence was honestly through the roof. Like I had been there before, and like I knew my role was different on this team, and I knew we had a chance to at least win 1 or 2 games, maybe go further with a little luck. But you know, I knew we had a chance to like, you know, kind of make some noise. So I was more confident than ever at that moment, honestly. Like for me, it was like a breeze, really.
And you make some noise, and like you're in the biggest stage of your life there. When after that finished, what's like the next step for you? When were you starting to talk to agents? Did you even think about overseas? Did you think about going to the NBA? Because I remember at the beginning you said that 3 years of Arkansas, you weren't even really thinking about the future after that. And then Middle Tennessee, something clicked and you're like, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like towards the end of the season, like agents started coming around, like coming to the games, like, you know, sometimes they was at our hotels, like, you know, like the agents started finding you, like, I guess if you're good, you have a potential, like, professional career, like they come find you. So for me, I was just doing my day-to-day thing, like practicing, playing games, and agents just came around, they started getting my number from my coaches, like, so they kind of find you, you know, so. You know, when they started calling me and things like that, that's when I was like, okay, maybe you know, I can make this like, you know, a professional career. So that's when I noticed when they started calling me. Like before that though, I was just playing like the best I could at the time.
So where was kind of your head at? Were you looking NBA? Were you looking overseas already? Were you looking G League? Kind of when you started realizing this was a very real thing and the agents were talking to you, were the conversations, what were they about?
Yeah, they were about mainly trying to get in the summer league. Try to get the training camp with some NBA teams, of course. Like I think that's everybody's route when they first come out. They give it a try, you know. If something happens, they stay around. If nothing happens, they probably go overseas. So it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like the typical career, you know. Everybody try at least, you know. Some people have a little bit different, but most careers are like this, you know. So I just tried, you know, to go to training camp a few years with the Cavs. Went to the G League a few years, and after that, I got into my overseas career. I wasn't really looking for anything in particular, just opportunity, you know. I just wanted the opportunity to go wherever I was meant to go.
So that summer, you did play in the summer league, right?
Yeah.
Right after college.
Yeah.
So you played at Arkansas 3 years, you played in Middle Tennessee, and you saw a bunch of college players, you go to the tournament, you see all these players, and now you go in the summer. And this is your first like taste of professional basketball.
Yeah.
So you see all these players and stuff, just take us to summer league. What is that experience actually like, both on the court and off the court?
Yeah, it's out there in Vegas, you know, every summer. But you know, it's just you know, it opens your eyes to how big things can be, you know. Like it's just like a little taste of like, you know, being on the NBA team, kind of like, you know, for that week that you're in summer league. So it's new to you, so everything looks bigger. It looks like wow, you know, everything look kind of crazy. You out in Vegas, you with the coaching staff on the team, you traveling, eating with the team, staying with the team, hotels, nice hotels, you know. So you get a little taste of like how they live a little bit, see how things are like when you're a pro, like how big things can be. You know, in the games, you know, everybody was high level on the team. Everybody on the team came from somewhere. They were the best player there. You know, so the competition was, you know, crazy. You know, everybody athletic, you know, everybody's big for their position, you know, so, you know, it's a big thing to see. It makes you kind of like realize how big it is and kind of like, you know, measure yourself like about like where you are, where you need to go and how much harder you need to work, you know, to get to where you need to be, you know, to you know, really live that life and be an NBA player, you know.
So then after summer league, you talked about it. You tried out with the Cleveland Charge and with the Cavs G League team. You go to play there for your first pro stop. Take us to your first pro stop playing professional basketball and what that year was like.
Yeah, I was in the G League my first year out. I went to training camp and then got cut and went to the G League. So I played in the G League 50 games there my first year. I played okay, averaged like 15, 16, and 8 or something like that. I played okay. I felt like, you know, the game was kind of fast for me at the time. Like, you know, my feel for the game was, you know, not at the level it needed to be like my first year out, but I was talented for a rookie, you know, in the G League, you know, so I had a good year still, and you know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing in the G League. Like, it was a different style from college, like, you know, a little bit more open court, you know, kind of taking faster shots, earlier shots, like rather than playing in college. It was different for me for sure, but I adjusted well. I like to run, so I adjusted well though, so I was good.
So then immediately you go and play overseas that same season. And you come over here to Israel and you play for Gilboa Galil.
Yeah.
So take us through that. You get on a flight and you go like almost 5,000 miles over the sea and land in Israel. What was that first experience getting off the plane?
Nah, it was crazy. That was my first time like overseas playing, you know, to play basketball. So like I didn't know what to expect, you know. Like I was just like, you know, I was kind of nervous at first, like my first time going. I don't know what to expect when I get on the ground, you know. You know, I'm not sure if people speaking English or not. Like, I don't know all the small details. I know nothing. So, of course, I'm like curious to know like how it's gonna be. I was a little bit nervous, but like once I got here and saw like you know, the team picking me up and like taking me to my place to the gym, like, you know, it all switched for me fast. Like I wasn't nervous for too long. Like I felt okay. Like as soon as I landed.
What was kind of your first impression when you got here? Because there's not. I mean, yeah, you're from the South, but there's not much of a bigger transition than Canton, Ohio, to Israel, you know? And so what was kind of your first impression when you landed outside of just like, all right, like maybe it's all right here, but you know, what are some things you noticed? What are some things you experienced right away?
Nah, I was just like, the weather's nice here the whole time because in Canton it was cold, so I was like, the weather's nice. You know, I knew I can go to the beach in Tel Aviv. I saw Tel Aviv for the first time. I was like, the city nice, the city big, you know, got a beach out there. So, you know, once I saw all that, I was like, man, yeah, I'm gonna like it out here. Yeah. Like as far as just living, you know, outside of basketball.
Off the court.
Yeah.
So then you go do play for the Cannon Charge once again.
After 15 a game, again.
Yeah. And when do you kind of learn about the business side of the game?
I think that second year, you know, like I played well a couple years in the G League. Like just because you play well in the G League doesn't mean you're gonna get caught up, you know. Certain teams need certain things at certain times. It has to be the right time. You have to be in that place at the right time, like, you know. Talent thing, like a lot of guys going up and down, you know, two ways and all that. So, got to be the right timing. You know, you got to have, you know, the right situation at the right time. So, you know, I kind of saw that my second year, and I was, you know, I was ready to see what was next. Like I was ready to go overseas. Like, you know, it was no pressure for me really. I wasn't like, oh my God, I ain't make it to the NBA. Like, you know, like if I got an opportunity, if it was meant to be, I'd have been there. You know, so.
So then you go back overseas. You play in Greece, Italy, France. Back to Italy, then you play in Montenegro, right? And then back to Israel and Jerusalem. So let's just go through those like 6 stops, right?
Yeah.
You go through all these places. What was a point where you kind of like talking with your family, talking with friends back home that you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going every year around August and I'm gonna be across the waters until May, June every year.
Yeah.
What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was you know, I was just telling my mom like it's gonna be similar to college. Like, you know, in college I was going like around that same time frame. Only really came home in the summer, you know. And even in the summer I went back early to, you know, to train and stuff. So it was kind of like, you know, me being back in college again with the time frame, but the difference is I was across the world this time and not in the States. And you know, I talked to my family about it. Like, you know, everybody was nervous at first. Nobody knew what to expect, you know. But I had been overseas one time, so I was like, you know, I was optimistic and curious about, like, you know, coming over here. So I wasn't like really worried about coming. My family was okay. Like, if I was okay, that was good.
What was, of these places, Greece, Italy, France, Montenegro, what of those places, what was like one of the coolest things off the court?
I don't know, man. I just like the city of Naples, bro. I like the view.
Naples is beautiful.
It's on the water, yeah. I think you can't beat that. That's just like my favorite city. So.
And then what's it like kind of bouncing around like that? I mean, yeah, it's all mostly European, right? So on one hand, there's a little bit of consistency there, but what's it like bouncing around basketball-wise from league to league? Because they're also, the French league's different than the Italian league, different than Montenegro. Like, you know, it's all very different. What was it like adjusting year to year?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do that. You know, every team plays different. Every country plays different, like different play styles. So like, you know, you got to be able to adjust to like really, you know, all different type of play styles. You know, to keep playing in these leagues. And like, you know, in some leagues, if you don't adjust, you don't play. So like, it's my job to really go to a team and adjust to what the coach wants. Literally, that's my job. So, you know, I just kind of like try to master that. You know, and be able to see things in a different way. You know. People play and win in different ways in basketball. Like, it's not just one style that always wins. So, you know, just being able to adjust every year, I think that's how I've been able to do it, really.
So then you go over, after Montenegro, you go over to Paul Jerusalem. What was Jerusalem like for you?
Jerusalem was nice. Like, it's probably other than Dubai, that's probably like the nicest club I played for, you know.
And then Jerusalem was also like, of the places you played at before, Jerusalem was one of the higher level teams, I'd say, right?
Yeah, I'd say that
so
too, yeah.
Once you get to Jerusalem and you play on this high level team, you do perform also, and you play very well. At that time, what was that like for you, playing at such a high level in this league here?
Yeah, I think it was super nice. But like, honestly, I had a good team around me, so, you know, those guys already had the core over there. You know, I just kind of like added to it, you know. And I think like there was no intention on me, so I can play well when nobody's really worried about me too much. We got like 2 or 3 players that's, you know, super high level. So, you know, I just kind of was like being myself, you know, just helping the team really, you know. And I didn't have a lot of focus on me, so I was able to be comfortable. So, you know, I played well. So that's all it was.
You're also then playing in a place like Jerusalem. You know, which I know now that you've been here in Israel a little bit of time as well, it's just globally everyone knows Jerusalem.
Yeah.
What was it like kind of playing in front of that culture? That also the fan base is insane, you know? So what was it like playing in front of the Hapoel Jerusalem fans, being in that city?
Yeah, I know the fans, man. The fans out there, they really passionate. Like they love Hapoel Jerusalem. Like you can feel it, like at every game. Like no matter where you feel the fans there. You know, even when you travel inside of Israel, like the fans show up. You know, so. You know, it was a good feeling playing for, you know, somebody, you know, they got your back like that. Like they're really passionate. Like, you know, it's nothing you can say. Like, you know, it's kind of a crazy feeling. Like, you know, that type of support. Anywhere you go, if it's like that, like, you know, of course as players we feel the support for sure. So it's always appreciated, you know.
Right. And from Jerusalem, you take another cool stop over to Dubai, and Dubai, you know, it's beautiful first of all. So. What was that like, you know, living in a high rise and being like in a place that's so high class, but also needing to perform on the court a season just before they actually come into the EuroLeague? So what was that experience like playing with this team?
It was a good experience, you know, like you said, it's nice out there. Like we living nice, you know, the city is crazy. Restaurants all around, you know, all type of stuff to do out there. You know, the city is nice out there, but you know, basketball-wise too, like they ran the program pretty good. Like they ran it similar to like Jerusalem a little bit, I would say, in my career. You know, I can compare those 2 teams, but it was super nice. The arena was super nice. They were like, you know, branding everything nice down there, promoting everything nice. Like it was a good season, you know, to show like, you know, that the team was ready to go to the EuroLeague.
Yeah.
You know, the team wanted to go there. You know, it was kind of like the start of everything. You know. You know, I ain't got nothing negative to say. It was super nice down there.
I always wonder what that experience like when you're on a team that's like pushing to go to the EuroLeague, but then you don't stay on the team when they go to the EuroLeague.
Yeah.
You know, so like kind of what's that like almost mentally being like, I helped build this, Is there any type of kind of thoughts about that, or is it more just like, oh yeah, I was here for that year, and now I'm somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, like every year in my career I've traded teams, so for me it wasn't a big deal. I kind of understood it was like, you know, it's probably gonna happen that way. Like I wasn't really, you know, hurt about it, or you know, of course they wanted me to come back, I would have came back for sure, but I knew I probably wasn't going back, like anyway. So it's no big deal. I enjoyed my experience there. I was on a good team, you know, a good environment, you know, big city, nice city. So, you know, I appreciate the opportunity. I wasn't really worried about coming back, or if I was or I wasn't.
Is there something behind that you haven't stayed in a team consecutively before, or is that kind of just like part of your journey?
Yeah, it just, I mean, I had a few teams in my career that wanted me to come back, you know, but I just like, you know, I just kept moving, you know. I always thought that, I always found a new situation that I felt was better. Like if I didn't find a situation I felt was better, I'd have went back to the same team, you know.
Yeah.
I just think after every year, I feel like the new situation is the better situation.
Right.
That's really it for me. It's not really deeper than that, you know.
Right. And you next stop, you go over and you play alongside Silvio De Sousa in Greece with Marousi.
Yeah.
And you play there this year, actually.
Yeah.
And you go from Greece and you jump over here to Ra'anana. So talk about this season, what it was like for you off the court, on the court.
Yeah, I was living in Greece, so it's nice, like in the city near Athens. So it was another nice city. Can't really complain about nothing off the court. Nice restaurants, things to do. The beach is out there too. So it was a long year, you know. I got there in August, and I was like, you know, finishing up there, and I was really ready to go home. You know, then they called and said they wanted me to come. I had been here before, so I had no problem with coming. I think the main thing this year was just long. It was just a long year.
Right.
Like it wasn't really nothing abnormal. Like everything happened, you know, how it normally happens. But
what would you say about on the court? I feel like Greece is like a super cool place to play because you also have a couple of EuroLeague teams, a bunch of Euro Cup, BCL teams. So just competitively, what was that season like? Do you think it was also maybe long because of the competition there?
Yeah, I think every team out there had talent. You know, it was physical out there. You know, you don't really get too many calls out there. Like it's a physical league. Every possession matters out there. Like, you know, you can be up 10 and down 10, like quick out there, you know. So, you know, it was a physical league, you know. It brings the best out of you when you play in a league like that. So, you know, it was good for me.
So then you come back on your you know, third stop now to Israel. So walk us through kind of, you played a couple games here, you know, you're in Ra'anana now. So talk us through kind of what went into you coming back here and how it's been being back.
Yeah, they just called, you know, said they, you know, they wanted me to come and finish the season for them. And I was already done anyway. And I kind of wanted to, you know, it was kind of early when we finished in Greece, so I just, you know, kind of wanted to keep playing a little bit. And so that's basically all it was.
Does it feel kind of, like, how does it feel coming back to a place for the third time? You know, as you said, you've moved around so many times, found so many different opportunities, and kind of chased the better situation. But now you're back, and it's a small country. You know, Israel's a very small country. You're a couple hours away from where you were before. You know, Jerusalem, you can drive 50 minutes, and you're there from here. You know, so how does it feel kind of being back almost in the same place?
Yeah, it's good to be back somewhere like where you're kind of familiar with. Like, you know, it's not really super foreign to me. I've been here 3 times, so I kind of came back because I was like, I already know how, you know, things are operated out here. So it kind of wasn't hard for me to transition from Greece to here. I had already been here, so I think that's what made it kind of easy for me to just come over here for like a month and a half or so.
What are some things that you love the most about Israel off the court?
I mean, the weather's always nice. You know, food is good. Got some good restaurants. Yeah, man, I just like the weather, the beach. You know, it's chill out here. It's nice out here.
To a player kind of looking at their overseas career, trying to say, hey, like, where do I look? You know, what's something that you would say to them about Israel in terms of why they should come play here?
I think the basketball here is like up tempo. You know, teams get up and down. Like you can play a little bit. You know, like the style. You know, Fish guys coming out of college early. You know, they can come here, kind of like, you know.
Show off their athleticism and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you know, the floor is kind of spaced out here. You know, it's kind of like a good league to play in up and down. You know, like I think early in your career, and I think off the court, like the weather's nice, mostly all year round. Like a lot of things to do.
It's a solid place to live.
Yeah, it's solid, man. The city nice, restaurants nice. You know,
So
by the water, so it's cool.
if you could sit down with 18-year-old JaCorey for 5 minutes, what's the first thing you'd tell him?
If I could sit down, I'd tell him to, you know, work even harder. Like I tell them, I know you're working hard, but work even harder. Like, you know, the sky's the limit. Like, you never know where this game can take you. You know, work on your game. You know, every day. Like just grind.
So normally what we do is to wrap up our episodes, we do something called a shot clock section, right? Where we put up about, 30 seconds this time?
Yeah.
30 seconds, shot, college shot clock.
Yeah.
Going back to Tennessee.
Oh, 30 seconds.
Going to Arkansas over there. We'll put up 30 seconds, and we'll just ask you rapid fire questions. You just do yes or no's, yeah? 3, 2, 1, go.
Best player you've ever played against?
Devin Booker.
Favorite city in the world?
Naples, Italy.
Best food overseas?
Pasta.
Hardest road environment?
Road environment. At Kentucky.
Dream vacation spot?
I would say, I don't know, man. Maldives. I already been.
All right, favorite song before a game?
Favorite song for a game? Freestyle, Little Baby.
Great song.
Bet.
That's a great song.
So just to wrap up, your journey has taken you really everywhere. When it's all said and done, what do you hope that the story of JaCorey Williams says?
Yeah, I just hope I can leave a legacy like playing this game, like something for my, my future kids and like my future grandkids to look at, like, as motivation. Like you work hard, you can really make it somewhere in life. I know this game took me like, all around the world. So, I want to leave that for my kids and my grandkids and my family to, to use as motivation or whatever they need it for, just to, have it for them to see. That's it. That's all I really care about.
Yes, sir. Awesome. So that's the Baseline Podcast. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
y'all
man.
having me, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.